Is Kyler Murray a top 10 fantasy option now that he's got a new home with the Minnesota Vikings and one of my favorite offensive minds in the game in the gone KOC? I don't know. That's what I want to ask y'all and talk about. Kyler has been a top 10 fantasy quarterback. Do we draft him as a top 10 fantasy quarterback this year? If so, would you rather have him over, say, a guy like my boy Caleb Williams? Would you rather have Kyler over Justin Herbert? What about these two guys? What about Bo Nix? What about Jackson Dart? I think these are some good questions for the fantasy community for sure. Kyler Murray for sure has been a top 10 quarterback. There's no doubt about that. And the only thing that has gotten in his way has been injuries. So if Kyler can stay upright, he's probably going to be that. But my concern is going to be, are we going to overdraft him? Because we all know Justin Jefferson last year did not have the season we were hoping for. And we all feel and believe that this is a significant upgrade for not only Justin Jefferson, but for Kyler Murray, but for Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings. So my fear is not that Kyler Murray won't produce. It's that he might get overdrafted. And I'm a Kyler Murray fan. I like Kyler Murray for sure. But what about this? What about if the Minnesota Vikings run game isn't very good this year? Last season, it wasn't very good. Ranked 23rd in the NFL last season as far as that goes. And on top of that, they were one of 6 teams not to run 1,000 plays last season. This by far was the worst season for Kevin O'Connell as an offensive coordinator / head coach in any season that he's been in any of those roles, where the Minnesota Vikings ranked 29th in passing yards and in passing touchdowns. We know that, right? But the other thing, too, to talk about is to go back. Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins underneath Kevin O'Connell, they all finished as QB9. So all finishing as QB9, Kyler Murray traditionally being in that QB10 range, it just feels like maybe he might be being overdrafted. Kyler has only had a top 12 passing offense one time in his career. He had 2 top 10 offensive finishes as far as yards go with Cliff Kingsbury. So I don't know, man. I think that maybe Kyler could be overdrafted. Now, if he's not overdrafted, I think he's a tremendous value on the draft board for sure, because I do think this is going to work. But what do you think? Would you rather have him over some of the guys that I mentioned earlier on? Do you think that Kyler's going to exceed that top 10 QB finish and have a tremendous payoff? Let me know. Drop your comments at the bottom. It's me, your man, Johnny Main, and I'm out.